So this video is about the solar system and the batteries and the inverters. So the first thing is just on the main SunSync inverter. You'll see a control panel there. If you push this up button, up arrow, it comes on. Basically, it shows you exactly what's on the app, so you don't really ever need to use this. It also has all the settings for technicians to use when configuring it, but that's not really a user thing, so we've never touched that. Here, already is the Wi-Fi dongle. If it's red, it's not connecting, or if it's off to the Wi-Fi, yeah, and then there's a problem. But again, that never has really happened. Secondly, on the left of that inverter, there are two switches. This DC power on-off switch cuts the power coming from the panels into the inverter. It's only there really if there's some emergency, like there's a fire in the laundry or something like that, and you want to protect the panels, then you would switch that off. More often used is this main on-off button. Again, I've used it very seldom. You push it on, you push it in, it switches off. Takes a minute or two to do that, and when you want to switch it back on, it also takes a minute or two to do that. That system is for the main system, which is the first 20 panels we put on. I'll show you on the next slide which are the extra 4 that we added last year. Those 4 are connected to this. This little blue box is another inverter and controller, but obviously for only 4 panels doesn't need to be very big, and then these are the trip switches that come out of it. All those panels do is go straight to the batteries and charge them. Inside this box here, this says AC, that one says DC, so we're talking about the AC one. Inside it are a set of trip switches, and the one on the right, you can use that to make the power to the house not go through. I'll switch it off. And I'll explain on the next slide what that does, but this is just so that you know where it is when I'm talking about it on the next slide. Lastly, the batteries, very little to do. Firstly, you know about these lights, 4 of them, roughly 25% power each, but very inaccurate unless they're showing that it's full or empty. So rather use the app. But if you want to have just a quick check to see whether you're about to run out or so, and they can be useful. Lastly, on the batteries, there's a brown wire going in here on each battery, and only once I had to do it, but the batteries had gone a bit haywire. They were showing they had power, but no power was coming through, and after trying all sorts of things, the installer said disconnect the brown wires, give it 30 seconds, reconnect them, and that resets the batteries, and everything was fine. Obviously what I've just shown you applies to both batteries. Right, so this is how the system works, and the reason for this slide is to show you what to do when the batteries have run out overnight and you want to get the maximum and quickest charge from when the sun comes out in the morning, and I'll explain why that's important. Firstly, just to handle these 4, these ones right at the top of the right-hand side of the roof are the 4 that we added. What was happening was, if there wasn't a lot of sun or anything, the system would often run out quite early in the evening. So we added these 4. They never get used to power the house directly. They only permanently charge the batteries. So since then, most often the batteries were full by mid-afternoon, and we had many fewer times when they would run out, only when it was extremely cloudy. Now, basically the other panels, when they're on, they power the house. Don't use the generator then. They power the house, and anything spare goes into the batteries. So that's all well and good. Now, what happens again when they've run out overnight and the sun is only just coming up, it's still weak? What happens then is, and you can see by the size of the lines that I've drawn here, all the solar panels, their power goes to power the house. Now this is when you've got the generator on because the batteries ran out, but as the sun comes out, the system first uses the power from the panels. Then it uses power from the generator and it puts any balance into the batteries. So the first thing that happens is the batteries take a very long time to charge enough so that the house can be powered. You've got the generator on, but because it's first using all this power, it uses very little of the generator's power and the rest is wasted. So what you do is you rather switch this AC trip switch off, and I've shown you in the previous slide where to find it. If you do that, none of the power from the panels, or the batteries from that matter, can go to the house. So 100% of the power coming in from the sun, again, weak sun, early morning, but 100% of it goes into the batteries. So the batteries charge much quicker so that you can turn the generator off sooner. So what also happens then obviously is that 100% of the generator power is being used to power the house and you're not wasting petrol. Just a point here, when you want to do this, put the generator on before you switch off the AC power. Again, switch the AC power back on before you switch the generator off. It doesn't do anything wrong, but it's very irritating because if you do it the other way around, if you put the AC switch off and then start the generator, then you've got a gap when there's no power to the house. Same when you're switching them off. So it's just, as I say, irritating because the TV goes off, the Wi-Fi goes off and has to all restart again. Okay, so that's the solar system.